as a test, I'm going to create a new blueprint that's just going to be a light that turns on when we're looking at it, turns off when we look away, right? So if we look at it, it's going to turn on. If we look away, it's going to turn off. So I'm going to add that to the world by just adding a basic point light. I'm going to make sure that that light is in a position where we can see it in action, right? We can see it doing something. So there we go. So we'll see it light up that wall when we turn it on. And in fact, I will change its color so that we can see that light even better. When we go to see it light up the wall, we'll see it turn the light red. I'm going to select that light, and we're going to make sure that we make it a blueprint. It's going to go inside my blueprints folder. I'm going to give it the name BP Look at Light. We're going to go to our event graph, and I'm going to actually use the tick, which is, you know, it's kind of bad form. If you find yourself using the tick node, you always want to stop and make a note to think about this code and see if maybe you can, you know, activate or deactivate the tick node at certain times. Can you find another way to do it? Can you create a new event that needs to be fired? The tick node really should be kind of a item of last resort, right? It's something you use only when you are either testing, which is what we're doing now, or you've decided that there's no other way to get this done except to use the tick node. So definitely if you're in the industry and you're using the tick node, immediately start talking to the engineering team or your technical designer and say, hey, can you help me out? I don't want to use the tick node, but I can't find another way to do this. And they will help you find another way to either not use the tick node or maybe, if we have to, and we're going to see this in a little bit, turn the tick node on and off as we need it so that it's not running constantly. It's only running when we need it to run. Because that's the problem with the tick node, is that the tick node is always doing work, which means it's always eating up our processing, that I would much rather turn into a cool particle effect or an awesome 3D model or something really neat happening in the game instead of just a tick node going off every tick. I'd rather use that processing for something else. All right, I'm going to start by getting my player pawn, right? This gives me the pawn for player 0. The value that comes out is a pawn. I'm going to cast it to my third person character. It's gonna change to become my third person character. So there's my player pawn. Now it's become a third person character. Again, this idea of casting on a tick, ooh, that hurts me just to do. But know that we're just doing this for testing, right? Now that I have that third person character, I can call its function. So I can call that function for is actor in front of player, right? So event tick, it turns the player pawn into a third person character. It says, okay, there's our check. What actor are we checking? What actor do we want to see? That's going to be myself. So I'm going to get a reference to self to see if I am in front of the character, right? So there's my third person character. Am I in front of that character? Here's my true or false. So that's going to be my branch. Is in front of is my condition for the branch. If that's true, I'm going to access this light. So I'm going to grab my light component. And I'm going to set intensity. If it's in front of me, right, I'm going to need to set intensity for both. So let me move this down here as well. False, right? If it's not in front of me, set my intensity to 0. If it's true, I will set my intensity to 8. Save, compile. So every frame, it's going to check if that light is in front of my player pawn. If it is, it sets that intensity. So I can give it a play. There it is. It's in front of me. If I turn around, it's off. I look at it, it's on. Up until perpendicular, right? I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do that. There we go. Now that it's sideways, my player isn't looking at it. So right now we just said, is the player pawn facing it? If they are, turn it on. If they're facing a different direction, right, it turns the light off.